This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
Yeah, I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.
Yes, I do. It's a good thing this isn't a real brick wall behind me on the new KFAN Studio A wrapped into me, because I just tried to run through that thing. And it's really just some kind of a soft, I don't know what it is, but there's like carpet behind it. So I'm no worse for the wear. Wow. Big time rush. Brings back a lot of memories for me. Deuce, I have two children created from my loins. My first wife hasn't been born, or my second wife hasn't been born yet. And Deuce was a big fan of the TV show Big Time Rush. So I remember watching a lot of episodes, and that's one of my favorite Big Time Rush songs. We are halfway there, halfway through eliminating the Golden State Warriors from the NBA playoffs, and then halfway to the NBA Finals. It really is. And that obviously will be topic A. Do you like parades? Looks like the Wolves are about to have one. The Frost, did they even the series at a game apiece?
Oh, they're up 2-1 now.
Oh, they're up 2-1
They've
now.
won the last two.
They're up 2-1 now. The Twins, they've won eight in a row. They're drawing comparisons to the 27 Yankees. Halliburton says he gets paid a lot of money to pay a kids game, and the Target Center concession stand inspections will leave you wanting to eat before the game and not during. All of those topics to get to. I'm not sure where to start. Why don't we spin the wheel of topics?
Commons golf game.
Okay. Wasn't prepared for this. It just kind of caught me off guard.
What'd you shoot today?
I shot a 77 Sunset Strip.
Where'd we play?
Prestwick at Wedgwood and Woodbury.
Where'd you hit it on one?
Right up the gut.
How far from the green were you?
I had 134 to the pin.
Second shot?
Hit it to 3 feet.
Then what?
Missed the putt. But it was actually a good thing I missed the putt, because I've been struggling with my putter, and it was what I figured with that putt, I figured out what I was doing. I was decelerating, trying to make it perfect.
Yeah.
So I dragged it back. Of course, it doesn't count, but I dragged it back and just followed through and buried it in the back. Now, that did not prevent me from three-putting a couple of three times during the round, but I left a 74 out there. I played really well. I wedged in from about 35 yards out on the very difficult par 4 15th.
Nice.
Wedged in. I also on 18 hit from about 56 yards out. I hit a 56 from 56 to a foot for tap in birdie. I had 3 birdies today. I hit another remarkable chip on 11, one of my favorite holes at Prestwick. Just a great golf hole, tough. Dog leg, gentle left to right, and then it's got the elevated green with the big deep bunker on the left side. They had the pin back left, which is really inaccessible for somebody like me. It's just so hard to get to. I hit a good drive down the right side, and I just absolutely flushed my 19-degree hybrid I was like 174. That thing went over the green about a foot into the rough. And the pin is back left, and I've got to hit that little tricky little dot. You want to keep it below the stick at the wick, and I'm above the stick, right? But master professional Craig Warren taught me this great shot. I don't know if I ever told you about it, but it works for when you're in the rough, you want to hit a delicate little pitch. You take your wedge, you get over the ball, you lift the heel up, right? So you kind of, how do I explain it? You lift the heel up, and then you turn the toe in and use a putting stroke. And I hit this beautiful, deft little chip that almost went in. It was brilliant, if I don't mind saying so myself, and I don't mind saying so myself. So, yeah, it was a tighty. I had some three putts. I had some trouble, but I had a tighty little. So, I think I'm halfway there to getting my game back. I'm not completely there, but I think I'm halfway there. Boy, you're getting a lot of compliments again, Tenneby.
Huh?
Well, there's some people that are not happy with it, though, too.
Oh, every time Big Time Rush is played, there's people that are not happy about it.
Why is that?
They just don't like it. That's fine, because you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
Yeah, I'm with you. This one says tennis montages are motivating the Wolves to victory. That is correct. This one, so far, every time Tenneby does a montage, the Wolves win. Let's go. Remember, because you didn't do one that before game one, and we didn't have a montage. This one says, Montage Mondays just ran through 5 walls at work. Let's go. What's for lunch today? Beef tips and mashed potatoes. Can you give me a Lucky?
Lucky?
It is really good. After that montage, tennis should be halfway to no longer being the bridge producer. No! A Big Time Rush montage. My Monday just hit its peak. Here's another. Last week, I deservedly ripped Tenneby to shreds about a lack of Game 1 montage following Tenna's tiring golf trip, which included 12 friends of his, plus their circadian rhythm and time zone changes. Well, I'd like to issue a formal apology about that premature ripping, because this montage deserves it. What a song choice. This is supposed to get me to believe the Wolves will win in 5, then become powerhouses in the Western Conference Finals. If the Nuggets or OKC listens to this montage, they're foaming at the mouth right now. So he thinks that it's the montage music. There's another. Interim no longer. Pay the man his money. Halfway there. Absolute chills. Though there are some people that don't like it. It's polarizing,
yes,
much like the Common Man program. I love it. We're halfway there. We're actually only a ninth of the way through the show, but trust me, we'll get there. Let's go to break. We'll talk some Wolves and plenty of other topics. Tenneby, I think, though, has, we call it bonus bucks. And it's brought to you by
The Fan.
BigDeck.com.
Yeah, The Fan and BigDeck.com. They want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword money at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is money. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
The word on the street then was he's too country for pop. But then once I got to country, it was he's too pop for country. So I kind of never really had a place to fit in, but that's exactly how and why I fit. I just embraced that. Like, yeah, I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Bonus Bucks is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is presented by BigDeck.com.
I'm the Common Man, Dan Cole. He's Tenneby. Mark Rosen will join us tomorrow just before 2 o'clock. Peek at the Purple, brought to you by our pals at Affordable Electric. May is Electrical Safety Month. Affordable Electric is here to remind you safety starts at home or your business. Their licensed electricians are ready to help with safety inspections, surge protection, panel upgrades, and more, because even small issues can lead to big problems. Get an inspection. Have them look over your electrical system. Affordable-electric.com affordable-electric.com. And if you heard me say this once, you've heard me say it a couple 13, 14 times, Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. I don't know if I have any Vikings news really tend to be. Maybe call this a peek at the, I can't think of the alliteration.
For what?
They're releasing drips and drabs. The schedule release is scheduled for Thursday or is it Wednesday? The NFL. They're going to release the entire schedule of. We already know who we play. We just don't know when. My sources tell me they'll open the season. A Thursday night will be the Eagles hosting the Cowboys. That's what I've been told. Oh my gosh! I don't even know how that. Yeah, how do you have Cowboys at Eagles? What have the Cowboys done to deserve playing on opening night? I get the Eagles are the defending big game world champs, and I think the big game world champions always open this the following season. Why is Dallas there?
They must be some sort of television draw. I don't know.
It must be.
People must tune in to watch them. I don't know why.
Yeah. I know forever, and maybe they still are, called America's team. And, I've sort of, it's not like I'm going to, what do they call it? Die on a hill for it? But is that what that's the old saying is? Something like that? But I've never understood why they're called America's, and I'd never refer to them as America's team. Why would they be America's team? Why? I think Jerry Jones just created that or somebody involved with Dallas, and the people ran with it. America's team. I don't know anybody in America that likes Dallas except for people that live in Dallas. Everybody else I know hates the Cowboys. How can they be America's team? I really thought it was going to be Detroit. I thought they were going to have Detroit versus the Eagles, with the Lions coming off another pretty successful season, even though the playoffs didn't end how they wanted to. But there you go. There will be. This happens every year, right, Ted? Now there'll be another game talk. Another game will be leaked, correct? And then another. They'll leak a half a dozen games between now. And is it Thursday? Is that the schedule? Do I have that right? Is it Thursday? Do you know? Because I can't recall. And they do a 3-hour television show. I think the NFL Network or ESPN, or maybe they both do it. They have like a 3-hour show to break down each and every game, which, again, I get the voracious appetite NFL fans.
Looks like it's
have.
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. They'll have the schedule release, so we'll know at that point all 32 NFL teams, including the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. Not only who we already know what the schedule looks like. We just don't. Obviously they play the Packers, Lions, and Bears twice apiece. Then they play whatever division, a second place schedule or whatever it was, and then they'll go from there. But we'll find out who they play or when they play their opponents. What dates will be on those games. Somebody tells me, one of my sources say that the Kitties and Vikings might be playing week 1. That's one of my. I
saw that out there by one of those aggregate accounts.
Okay.
So maybe they heard something somewhere.
Maybe they have some inside information. Maybe they don't. That'd be a great lid lifter. That'd be a really.
That'd be a heck of a
yeah. That'd be a heck of a lid
lifter.
It'd
be a prime time game as well.
Yeah,
obviously.
You look at. We
call that JJ's coming out party.
You think that's it?
Yeah.
Looking at. I don't have their schedule in front of me. But because the Lions finished first, they have that first place schedule. Is that what they call it? I'm now beginning to think their window may have closed last year. We'll find out how much offensive and defensive coordinators mean to a club, too. Because they lost both of theirs. Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator, real good at his job. He's moving over to, he's a head coach of the New York Football Jets.
But the thing is, though, let's say the coordinators mean that much. Yeah. Let's say Ben Johnson's that great of a coach.
Yeah.
Well, now we're just putting him on a different team in the division. So even if the Lions drop, now the Bears are going to go up.
Right. But what I'm saying is I'm talking about from a Lions point of view.
From your own perspective.
Yeah, from the Lions point of view, if you lose Aaron Glenn, who was considered pretty good defensive coordinator, he worked wonders with a team that was decimated with injuries. And then you lose Ben Johnson, who most people say he's great offensive coordinator. And you and I have discussed this forever. Is it the players that make coaches or coaches that make players? I think it's a little of both. But that when you play that first place schedule, it could be a very trying season. How about spine on the schedule? Well, that's 2 S's, but spine on the schedule. That might work. speak at the schedule. No, because then you have to. That's really not peak. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see how that all works out when coordinators. I saw this note too over the weekend that I had not heard. Did I miss this or did you hear this? When Aaron Rodgers flew to New York to talk to Aaron Glenn, and about 2 minutes into the meeting, Aaron said, you're not in our plan.
Yeah.
So then he was bitter. Is that what really happened? He made him fly out there and told him in person, which I know you like to be told in person, but if you're just going to let him go, don't just say, don't bother flying out because we're just going in a different direction. I'd be annoyed.
He's flying from the other side of the country.
Yeah, I'd be a little annoyed. Did I miss that? Did you know of that previously? Because I
yes, well, yeah. Well, Aaron complained about it.
I don't even remember that. Because far be it from me to stick up for ayahuasca, dude. But that one, I'd be a bit annoyed too. You make these plans, get a flight, go out, drive to the facility. I mean, and then all of a sudden they say, oh, by the way, thanks for coming up, but we really don't have any plans for you with the franchise in the future. So,
well, and also, like, if you want to, I get it wanting to talk to him in person. Technology's changed. You can FaceTime.
Yeah,
so you're still seeing each other.
Yeah.
It's not like you're hiding behind the phone.
Yeah.
Do a Zoom call.
Someone's wondering if Sinekin was nominated last week for PST, Triple V, Triple I. He said, the NFL schedule release is like Christmas in May for a lot of us.
You've got to be kidding me.
Well, he doesn't have a lot to look forward to, does
Which
he?
is so bizarre. We already know the teams they're playing. We already know where they're playing them, other than, I guess, the Dublin, London stuff.
Right.
But you know which teams are playing at home, which teams are playing on the road. It's just a matter of putting a date to it and a time.
Yeah. But it's like Christmas in May. For a lot of people out there.
It is sounding, by the way, that this might be a little leakage. This is not official.
Right.
This is just what I've heard. It's very possible the Vikings play 2 games in Europe in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. Well, I thought this is what Lieber leaked last week, too.
Yeah.
That's what Lieber said.
London and
Ireland,
and then they just stay out there.
And that's why we talked about this last week. Or maybe you weren't here. Were you here last week?
I wasn't here Monday.
Oh. I think you
I might not have been listening.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I can tell there's a lot of time. I can always tell when you're not listening, because we talked about, so there's really good golf in Ireland. I would love to be a part of the Vikings radio network again, because we could play in Ireland and we could play in England, because London has some great golf courses too. So if you and I were both allowed to do our shows from that trip, now we know the power trip will be going for sure, right? I mean, they'll make a big, they'll pack 2 Boeing 767s provided by, who is providing our Air Force One? Is it Qatar? Some European country, or
Qatar.
Qatar,
Is it
that
Qatar?
Said? It's Qatar or Qatar or something. They're providing us with the new Air Force One. They'll fill 2 planes with people going to Ireland and England. You and I would love to go, right?
Sure.
Because I think the games will be early in the year, too, probably October. Perfect time to play golf. So there you go. That's your peek at the purple, brought to you by our pals at Affordable Electric. Get the safety inspection during May's Electrical Safety Month. Affordable-electric.com to schedule your service. Let's talk a little Wolves, other side of the break. Common Man program on the Fan.
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
The word on the street then was he's too country for pop. But then once I got to country, it was he's too pop for country. So I kind of never really had a place to fit in, but that's exactly how and why I fit. I just embraced that. Like, yeah, I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Carboni's Pizzeria wants to fuel your playoff party. Visit one of their 30-plus locations to enjoy delicious pizza and get ready for the playoff run. Find your nearest Carboni's today at carbonispizza.com.
So I'm watching McAfee shows on the 55-inch Toshiba Regza. They're talking with NFL Network insider, senior insider, Ian Rappaport. And he's in a car. Have you ever watched any of those cheesy 1950 or 1960s television shows or movies where they're showing somebody driving in a car, and you can just tell that they've just got, it's just two people sitting on a sound screen. What do they call it? You're in the studio. They're just sitting there, and then they have, some film of some car. It looks exactly like that. It's like, I don't even think he's really in a car. I think it's all created to make it look like he's so busy they had to catch him while he was in his car.
And this isn't the first time this has happened with him. It's not like it just happened to be on this day that he had something going on. Okay. So, hey, every time he's on that show, he's in a car.
Yeah, well, he's busy. He's always got something going. He's when you're the NFL Network senior insider, are.
And he's just sitting in a parking lot right now.
That's exactly right. This text message says, listen to some Tee to Green this weekend. Not sure what made me more uncomfortable. Listening to Common work on a weekend or hearing what it sounds like when he prepares for a show. Hold on. I do put some preparation into, not preparation H, but I do put some preparation into the Tee to Green show. Tend to be, I know you're familiar with the gentleman I'm about to bring up here, Greg Swedberg. He's the vice president of programming. He's the best boss I've ever had.
He's a genius.
He's the best boss I've ever had. There's nobody better than Greg Swedberg. I would work tirelessly for him. I would follow him wherever he would lead. He really does a great job. He was recently, we brought this up on the air. He was inducted into, or is going to be inducted. He's inducted. He's going to the official induction to the Country Radio Hall of Fame, class of 2025. It's a pretty big deal. The Pavic's nice, but this is the Country Radio Hall of Fame. And it goes to show you with some of our media partners in town, Tennessee, how much they respect Greg Swedberg. This is from Mark Wilf, Sir Mark Wilf, owner.
Wow. And
president of the Minnesota Vikings, says, Dear Greg, on behalf of the entire Minnesota Vikings organization, congratulations on your recent induction to the Country Radio Hall of Fame, class of 2025. Rarely do people have such an impact in any field. This prestigious recognition puts a stamp on your tremendous contributions to the radio industry over the past 30-plus years. It's evident by the response of your peers. You are an impactful leader, a creative visionary, and a brilliant programmer. But what's most impressive is how clear it is that you care about people, not just their development and professional success, but about them personally. That should also be celebrated.
Oh.
Thank you for your instrumental work behind the scenes on a long-standing iHeartMedia Vikings partnership. Over our nearly 25 years together, you've played a critical role in growing this into one of the largest radio networks in the NFL. We appreciate your efforts to bring our games directly to Vikings fans. Congrats again on what is not just a celebration of past achievements, but also recognition of the legacy you continue to build. We hope you and your family have a memorable time during the official induction in Nashville this summer. Sincerely, Mark Wilf. That's awful. That's well said. I don't believe most of it myself, but I did write him a letter. Impactful leader. He's made an impact, all right. But it's interesting. I won City Page's Gadfly of the Year, and I never got any letter from the Wolves or anybody in town. And and being the Gadfly of the Year is very impactful. In a bad way. I mean, most people, a Gadfly is someone who is persistently annoying. But somebody's got to be a Gadfly, right? And I did such a nice. I know City Pages isn't on the same level as a Country Radio Hall of Fame, but I don't think they have like a Gadfly Hall of Fame anywhere. So if they did, maybe I'd be nominated. But it's awful nice to see that the Vikings took the time to That's why our partnership has been so good with the Minnesota Vikings. We love the Vikings here. Maybe if I said some really nice things about them, I could get a letter like this. What I would do if I was Greg, and I don't know if he would do this, but see, I would respond with, hey, appreciate the letter. You know, kind of hard to get to Nashville, to catch some flights. How about the Wilf private jet? Think maybe I could use that for my induction ceremony coming up in Nashville. Like to use the Vikings private jet if he'd fly me out there, but that's pretty cool to get a letter like that. And then you got a nice
maybe for a game or so, Greg might stop criticizing the offensive line now.
Yeah, maybe that's what he might say. Yeah, exactly. He's been so critical of the club for all these years. Wolves win Tennessee, Game 3, Western Conference semifinal series. They lost the opener, but it's apparent the Warriors lost even more in victory because with Steph Curry out, they're just not the same team. Wolves, with Curry straining a mild hamstring strain, with I can't remember if it was 8 minutes to go or 10 minutes to go in the first half. He exited the game and did not return and did not play in Game 3 as well. Game 2 or Game 3. They won Game 1 despite the fact that he didn't play the entire second half. The Warriors had a great game plan and executed. I don't think the Wolves I don't know why I don't know how teams come into a game and they're unprepared or it's just not working for whatever reason. I understand if the other team is, and maybe that was part of it. I'm sure it was a large part of what the Golden State Warriors were doing and not so much what the Wolves weren't doing. But Game 2, as we know, the Wolves came out and did they ever trail in that game? I mean, I don't think they did.
In Game 3?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Game 2. In Game 2, I don't think they ever trailed. I don't think so. I think they jumped all over them, and that was a pretty decisive
Golden State
win.
got it to 7.
Yes, I think they got it to 7 once or twice, and that was it. In Game 3, did you say they never trailed in Game 3?
No, I thought you were saying that, and I was going to say, no, that's incorrect.
Right.
Because Golden State was leading, yes.
Yes. Wolves won 102-97. And the Wolves didn't play their best basketball either, even though they won the game. They had, I think it was something like 21 turnovers in the game. You know, stats can tell a lot about, you can look at a box score stats oftentimes and without counting points and just determine who wins. When a team turns it over 21 times, I would think generally speaking, you're on the losing end of the game, but the Wolves certainly weren't. Edwards, after a couple of really, I don't want to say he played poorly in the first couple of games, but he had a great Game 3, particularly in the second half.
Yes.
He scored 36 points. Your guy, Julius Randle, you were a big Julius Randle guy when they acquired him. I remember how high on him you were. He had a triple-double, 24 points, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds. Butler did the best he could. He finished. I guess he listened to the advice that we gave him on, I think it was Friday, where we said he's going to have to take more shots than he did in Game 2 when Steph was out, because he took, I think, 13 shots. He was a volume shooter in Game 3. He scored 33, but it wasn't enough.
He was he was good for a good chunk of that game. I thought in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He was missing some shots. He turned the ball over occasionally, so that the Wolves' defense was getting to him in the fourth when it mattered.
The Kuminga, is it Kyle? Is that his name? Kuminga? Is it Kyle Kuminga? Whoever he is. He had 30 for the Warriors. Wolves went on a 7-0 run, gave them that 84-82 lead on Ants 3.
Jonathan Kuminga.
Jonathan Kuminga was 6-16. It should have been, what did I call him?
Called him Kyle.
It should be Kyle Kuminga. It sounds better. I think it's got a double K. I think it's got a better sound to it. And that was that. I said last week, and it was very controversial.
That's interesting.
When I suggested that if the Wolves were to win the Western Conference Finals and or the NBA Finals, when they hoist those banners at the bullseye, they might want to have a little asterisk in the bottom right corner, because Golden State's just not nearly the team. I guess it goes out saying, right? They're just not nearly the team, though they put up a great effort. You know, they tried to muck it up is what they basically tried to do. They tried to get down and dirty, get physical. They play a suffocating defense. Once Jimmy Butler got there, I think it's well documented. They've been the best defensive team in basketball. Wolves are really good defensively too, but they've been the best defensive team in basketball. They did everything they could, but the Wolves were able to overcome and win the game. But I said, without Curry, well, you're just really not beating the Golden State Warriors. And I was told that even the Maestro of the Mornings, Corey Cove, had that take today. I don't know if he got it from a Dallas or from a Kansas City radio station or not. But when I say that, I wasn't saying, I didn't mean they literally should have an asterisk. But they aren't playing a Golden State Warriors team that's at full strength. And this part of the comeback I got from people was, well, Julius Randle was out for 25 games, and this guy was out. And you're right. But Julius Randle's there for the playoffs. It's
when it matters.
Yeah, when it matters. I mean, it's great the regular season, but when it matters, and so and that's not to say the Wolves would not have won Game 2. It would not have won Game 3 had Steph Curry been playing. But it's a completely different game. I mean, they lose by. Golden State loses by 5. Now, again, the game would change the ebb and flow of the game and the pace of the game and everything. But if you're without Steph and you only lose by 5, with them, I got to think he's good for 10, 15 points, So I don't know. But and whether he comes back or not still remains to be seen, right? He will not play. Is that tonight, right? Tonight?
Yeah.
He's not playing tonight, right? I mean,
no, I think he's out until
Game 6 at
at
best,
minimum.
right? So, I mean, somewhere along the line, if the Warriors have any hope, they got to steal one of the next 2 games.
Yeah.
They just have to, and I don't know if they can.
Defensively, they are good enough to be in these games, right? So they might have a chance of stealing one of those 2. Their problem is even in Game 3, where they were in the lead for good chunks of the game, you were never scared of them offensively. And I don't know if they're capable of going on a big run, right? Like they had times where they're up 4 or 5. They even got up, 7-point lead in that game. You were never worried about them going on a 12-0 run to put the game out of hand.
Right.
So their defense will keep them in the game, but their offense just isn't good enough to separate them where you're always going to be in it with them.
Yes.
But, defensively, they are giving the Wolves fits. Now, it does seem like, I read in the paper today that, because Anthony Edwards had that great second half, all of a sudden he was first half of the entire series where it seemed like he was kind of feeling it a little bit.
Right.
That they made some changes structurally, offensively to give him a little bit more space and freedom. And we'll see if that second half trend continues moving forward. Because if it does, then Warriors are absolutely they're done in this series.
Yeah, they're done so.
But the way they played against Ant the first 5 halves would give them a chance just because they've defended the Wolves as well as anybody can.
This does appear to be, I mean, I really wasn't sure. I don't remember what my take was last year. I probably was a wet blanket and predicted Dallas to win that series against the Wolves that eliminated the Wolves in the Western Conference Finals. But this does seem like it's the Wolves couldn't be in a better position right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Denver or Oklahoma City will certainly be a formidable challenge. I'm not ready to say that once the Warriors go by the wayside, which I think they are. I think the Wolves are going to win 2 games in a row. Like you say, I guess if they can smother them with defense again and get somebody to rise to the occasion and squeak out one here in game 4 or 5, but I think
any given Sunday.
Yeah, on any given Sunday. I think they match up fairly well against both Oklahoma City and Denver.
Well, I mean, we saw them beat Denver in a series last year.
Correct.
I know they're a little bit different without Big Meow and without Slow-Mo, but they've added, obviously, the guys that we know. Denver, I still just don't know if they have the depth to play with the Wolves.
Right.
So I think Wolves fans should be cheering for Denver to win that series against OKC. And then we've already talked about the other side, the East, it's so weird to already be looking ahead to the NBA Finals, but top two seeds are, I know Boston's come back to win the last two, but, Pacers just absolutely destroyed Cleveland last night.
Yes.
So you've got a situation where the top two seeds in the East could be gone, top seed in the West could be gone, and you're facing a Golden State Warriors team that doesn't have Steph Curry. I mean, it's never been more open for
Correct.
the Minnesota Timberwolves to win an NBA championship.
So if the Twins, if the, I think a lot of us, including you and I, we wanted Golden State more than Houston, not because I thought the Wolves had a better chance against Golden State or Houston. As a matter of fact, I thought Houston might give more trouble just because they're young, physical, play really good defense. But just those storylines, you know, Jimmy coming back here, Draymond and Gobert, just seemed like would be a lot of fun. I guess if the next great matchup would be Wolves versus the Knickerbockers, just because Big Meow.
Oh gosh, yes.
I mean, Randall and DiVincenzo going back to New York. I think they both, certainly DiVincenzo, I think, is that what you reminded me last week? Wasn't he annoyed by?
Yes, the preseason game. Yeah, he was barking at their bench.
Yeah, he was not happy.
At the free throw line.
We certainly know Big Meow. I mean, I think he was publicly, I don't remember what he said, but I don't think he was real negative. I think he took it in stride, right?
Got the Tibbs factor, too.
Yeah, but and he got the Tibbs factor, too. So, yeah, that would make it, there would be, you talk about vendettas. I mean, they'd be there. It would be, it would be great drama. That's what I'm hoping for. And then, of course, as we mentioned last week, Teneby, you can't ignore that the Liberty beat the Lynx last year, and we got jobbed. I mean, they stole it from us.
Yes.
Right? I mean, if you don't believe me, just ask Cheryl Reeves. She'll tell you. So we could get revenge that way, if we could best New York in the NBA Finals. That would be some consolation. I mean, it's not like the Lynx get the trophy, but at least it would be our brethren. Because you have the Wolves and the Lynx.
Same association, same organization.
Yeah, same organization. Wolves and the Lynx, and they're both like, one's a wolf and one's a cat, so it's kind of sort of the same. I think you know where I'm going with this. So, yeah, it'd be nice. But yeah, the Warriors. I think they're incapable of scoring 100 points. Right? I just don't, without Steph, they can't score 100 points. There's just no way. And if you can't score over 100 points, you can't win.
It's hard to win, yeah.
Unless your defense is just so good. But the Wolves have enough options offensively. I think you're just not going to hold them under 100 points very often. So unless they get Steph back, I think they're done.
They're in trouble.
They're in some big trouble, which is all good for us. Because we both like parades. I was not here for the 91 parade, nor was I here. No, I was here in 91. I just didn't go to the parade. But I did see it on TV, I'm sure. I didn't see the 87 one.
I forget which one. I think 87 is the one I went to as a kid. I don't remember it too much.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it was when I was younger. But
the only parade, and we brought this up before, our favorite parade was when you and I were the grand marshals of the St. Paul Winter Carnival. And we did a live segment. Our very first segment was live from the float. It wasn't really a float. We were in a back end of a pickup truck, I think, or something like that. But it was a wonderful time. We were very honored and humbled to be asked to be in the St. Patrick's Day parade. So that went pretty well.
So all I remember is because I was probably 7 years old at the time, so my memory's not great. I remember going to a parade, and I also remember going to the Metrodome for some sort of like welcoming party where they all came in. They came in on cars, and everyone's cheering for them.
Yeah, it was so good.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
Who would have thought that would have been the last time we would see a championship for a while here?
You probably remember too back then all the Joe Mauer jerseys that were in the crowd at the Metrodome. That's still one of the best. That was Sinekin, right?
Sinekin,
where
yes.
he said he remembered when, because the Wolves played their very first season at the Metrodome and set the attendance record, over 1 million people. And he said he just remembered when he was at the Lakers game, all the Kobe jerseys that he saw in the crowd. And of course, Kobe wasn't playing for
always
the
loved
Lakers.
that
Was
one.
Kobe even born then? I don't recall.
He was probably born then, but he might have been a toddler.
Yeah, he was a toddler, but Seneca could remember all those Kobe jerseys that were.
I always loved that one.
It's just so good. Oh, it's sometimes you just you
It's
think
like the pyramids being built in the 1800s.
That's exactly right. Sometimes you feel like a nut, and sometimes you don't. Let's take a break. We'll come back. I'm going to warm up some lunch. There's one listener out there that's emailed my good friend Derek Lonnquist, Greg Swedberg, Chad Abbott wants me fired for eating lunch on air. Fired. Wants me to lose my job because of it. That's a little harsh. I mean, I would think maybe a little negatrometer might be in store, but fired? You're fired. 534, top of the hour. It's going to be what you got.
Does Chuck, Shaq, and Kenny finally have some competition?
Hi, I'm Bob Pittman, Chairman and CEO of iHeartMedia. On this week's episode of Math and Magic, I'm sitting down with the one and only Bobby Bones. We're exploring the power of audio.
Yeah, I don't fit into one specific hole. I think that is what endeared me to listeners. That's why I'm here now, because I talk to people that grew up like me, have sensibilities like me, and have loyalties like me.
Listen to Math and Magic, stories from the frontiers of marketing on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.